Today, I am giving you my top 5 marketing automations that you can copy, from lead capture to appointments, from video views to lead scoring. These are what we use for all of our clients, and now you can build them yourself. My name's Catherine Ferris, and I am the owner of Marketecs and Marketecs Engine. I have spent 16 years learning marketing automation and helping clients, service-based business professionals, consultants, coaches, lawyers, build their marketing systems. And today, what I want to show you is 5 of the easiest and most often used marketing automations that you can copy. I also have individual videos on these items. So what I'm going to do today is an overview, and then I'm going to show you where to find the exact one that you want to learn more about. Okay, let's dive in. Now, first things first, you need to know the system where you can actually build these. This is GoHighLevel or GoHighLevel, but better yet, our version called Marketecs Engine. And if you sign up with our version of GoHighLevel, you're actually going to get everything I'm showing you today pre-built. You will just tweak it for your business. You will not have to actually build these from scratch. If you're already a GoHighLevel user, then this is going to show you exactly what you need to do to just build these yourself. Simple. Okay. First things first, we're inside of GoHighLevel, and you can see all the stuff on the left-hand menu here. I am in automations. And when you come into automations, the first thing that you're landing on is workflows, and I'm in all workflows. One of the first things I want to show you in automations are some of the automations that we build for appointments and calendar booking. And I think these are some of the most important simply because this is how you transition somebody from a contact or a prospect or a lead, and actually you need that sales call. Within the system, you can actually build out your appointment types, and you can drive your traffic right to book these appointments. When somebody goes to book an appointment, there are some processes that we like to put in place. One of them is called our gatekeeper. And then we also have a meeting no-show. And within our templates that we give our users, there's a bunch of other options in there too. But these are 2 of the most popular automations that we use in the appointment space. So let's look at our gatekeeper. The way the gatekeeper works is somebody fills out an application to book an appointment with you. This is a pre-appointment application. When that comes through, a team member gets notified. This is called a trigger, and this is called an action. The trigger is that appointment form, that pre-appointment form is filled out. Then a team member gets notified. We do a lot of tagging within GoHighLevel and within Marketecs Engine because this is a way to then be able to pull a list of anybody with a particular tag that's taken a specific action. Tags I find are very important, but also keeping them organized and having naming conventions for your tags is very important. So in this case, we add a consultation submitted and an under review tag. And in these automations, you can also remove tags at different steps so that people don't just keep accumulating tags for things that don't apply anymore. Then there is a confirmation email saying that they submitted their application. This goes out to the actual person that filled out the form. So internal notification versus an external email. We have a little wait 5-minute step here. You can edit these however you want. When you click on these actions, you could change this to wait 2 minutes if you wanted to, and then hit save. Now, one of the questions on our form was, how ready are you to invest? This is what is our trigger action here. It's saying, is this person going to be a good fit for our appointment or not? And this is why we call this the application gatekeeper, is that if you're trying to protect your calendar and trying not to fill it with potential spam or people that just really aren't ready to buy, you have a single question on that pre-form that is a really good indicator of whether this is your ideal client or not. Are you ready to invest is kind of a generic form of that question, but it's also pretty applicable for most clients. So are you ready to invest? And it might be on a scale of 1 to 7 or 1 to 5, and you can choose how you want to put that question in there. And then it branches from here. And it's sort of a yes, they're ready, no, they're not. And you can see here that they may need a manual review. And again, that's an internal notification, wait a day. And then it's looking for an approved or denied tag. And again, we get back to this tagging piece. So if their score was low, if it was below a certain amount, you're going to do a manual review, wait a day, and look for this tag. If for some reason it's the weekend, it's the holiday, whatever, they still don't have an approved or denied tag, they go to the none column, wait another day, and circle back up to the top looking for that tag. If they do have one of these tags, then the remaining actions are taken. The review tag is removed. They're no longer under review. And they're sent an email that we call sort of the consolation prize. It's, hey, by the way that you filled out our form, it looks like you might not be quite ready. Here are some resources that you might find more helpful at this stage. But they are now a lead in your system. They are someone you can follow up with. Just because they're not ready now doesn't mean they won't be ready in 6 months. So we add the newsletter tag. If you review their application and they're approved, then they go to the approved workflow. Or if they had answered that one question that was our differentiator the correct way, then they're automatically approved. Approved tag is added, review tag is removed. They get an approved email with a link to book on your calendar. And so this is our gatekeeper. It waits a day. If they haven't scheduled, it sends them a reminder, waits another day, sends another reminder. You can even send an SMS message, wait a couple more days. At any point in this system, if they actually book that consult, they will stop receiving these reminders, and that's called a goal. So this is already built, and this is exactly how we build it. This is how all of our clients get this handed to them, and then we just customize it with their wording, their timing, their questions, and turn it into their system, their process. All right, so that's the gatekeeper, and I did make some changes, so I'll hit confirm. Then there is a meeting no-show as well that we tend to suggest. And this came into place with someone that was getting quite a few no-shows, and we wanted to be careful not to keep putting people on their calendar. After a meeting happens, you have the option to go in and classify a meeting as a no-show. So that is a manual step. And as soon as that happens, this is the trigger that starts this workflow. So none of this is going to happen if you don't manually turn that meeting into a no-show. So you have 100% control over this. Then it looks for one, were they a current client already? Had they already had a no-show? Or is this their first no-show? If it's their first no-show, they get a no-show tag. And we're going to talk a little more about lead scoring. It's a different automation, but they lose 5 points on their little gamification that we call lead scoring. And then they get a follow-up email. Hey, so sorry we missed you. Hopefully this won't happen again. Here's a link to reschedule. Now, if they already had the tag, and that's where they go into this has a no-show tag, then they get a different tag called a bad lead, and they lose 50 points in our lead scoring system. And you can change these points. These are totally your choice. We could subtract 40 points, and then I would just update the action name if I was doing that as well and save. You can do whatever you want with the point system. You can delete the point system altogether. And you can see here, you can copy actions, delete actions, add notes to actions. There's all kinds of options in here. Then we have pipelines. And again, when we talk about lead scoring, I'll get into this a little bit more, but in this same system, in the same system where you can send emails, SMS, book appointments, there are also pipelines that you can build. And from these automations, you can move people around the pipelines automatically, depending on certain actions that they take or don't take. Or even if they're a stale lead, you can remove them from your pipeline. In this case, if somebody has now no-showed us twice, they've ghosted us twice, essentially, or more, we're removing them from all of our pipelines. We're not removing them from the system. We're not deleting the contact. We just don't want to keep following up with this person if they're clearly not interested or can't make the time to show up. Now, in the case that they are actually a current client and they no-showed us, then we're just going to probably send a follow-up email, or maybe this would turn into an internal notification for you. That's where you could update this. But that is an example of our meeting no-show process. So hopefully you're starting to get the idea of how you can customize these automations, because this is just what we can do in appointments in this system. Now let's move on and take a look at what lead capture looks like. A lot of times the first thing people do with you is not necessarily sign up for an appointment. They might actually sign up for what we call a lead magnet, like an ebook or some sort of free download, or maybe even a webinar, which is actually another workflow that I'm going to cover. But these are super easy to make in this system. In this system, you can actually build your landing pages here under sites. You can build your intake forms. You can build all of these things, and then you connect them with workflows. So let's take a look at a quick lead magnet workflow. In this case, we build a form similar to how we built a form for the pre-appointment application. So we build a form that says, yes, I want a copy of your 5 best tips for X or Y. And you've built a PDF that you're going to give to them. We connect that form as our trigger. And then again, we add a tag, and we're probably making this a very specific tag: lead magnet 5 tips download, or X webinar registration. And we're making these tags very specific because if you have more than one niche or more than one product offering, this helps us understand, what did somebody sign up for first? What were they most interested in? And then if you have some sort of follow-up offer, or if you create a follow-up offer in the future, you're able to retarget those people that have that tag for that particular related lead magnet or lead capture. All right, after we tag them, first thing we're doing is we're sending them an email. Here's your lead magnet. Here's your download. Here's your ebook, whatever that thing is. Here's your quiz results. A quiz is a great lead magnet. And that's the first email that's going out. Now, what the rest of this automation does is basically nurture the person with content specific to that lead magnet. And you want to take them through a process. You want to take them through a journey or a story around that lead magnet. And a lot of times what we're doing is we wait a day and then we walk them through the first part of the lead magnet. Wait another day, walk them through the second part. Make sure they're catching all the important points of the lead magnets. Maybe it's timestamps in the video that you want to draw their attention to. Maybe it's the first chapter of the book, the second chapter of the book, the third chapter, and it's the highlights. But it's all the stuff that makes them take that item back out of their inbox and actually pay attention to it. And of course, there should be a call to action in every single email. What's the next step you want them to take? Is it book that call or fill out the appointment to book that call? Is it to buy a $7 upgrade? Whatever that next step is, that should be included in those follow-up emails. And in some of these cases, we're just waiting a day. And in other cases, we're waiting until an actual specific date. And that comes down to more like a webinar lead magnet. And that's the example that you see here. And you can see that a lot of these workflows have little notes left in them as to, here's what you want to customize. Here's what you need to think about as you're building this workflow. And you can see the reminders that you can add. And usually I wait till the end of a nurture sequence. If it's a tight nurture sequence, if it's 7 emails for 7 days, I will wait till the end to add the newsletter tag, just so that there's no confusion and they're not getting multiple messages during that initial warm-up period. And so that's why I'll wait till the end. If it's a much longer sequence, if it's a 21-day sequence or something different, something bigger, I may add the newsletter tag after the first week. But if it's about a week, I will wait until the very end. All right, so that's an example of a lead magnet workflow. Now, sometimes when we're doing promotions, we want to give people the option to opt out, and we call this selective unsubscribe. We don't want them to quit our whole list. We just want them to say, I'm not interested in this particular product. And so this is another customized workflow that we've built that is super simple, that allows people to do that without leaving our list, and so therefore helping our email deliverability, list growth, list health, et cetera, et cetera. So the way this works is we build a custom page, because we can build pages in our system, that says, I want to opt out of this particular, you have a webinar coming up on Friday. It's not really a topic I'm interested in, or I'm just not available. Stop telling me about it. Click this link here. And it's a special page that we build just to opt out of that. And it's very simple. And a lot of times we're just duplicating the last one we did and saying your preferences have been noted. And it's very generic. But the thing is that clicking that link triggers this very simple automation. When that link is clicked, we can say remove somebody from a specific workflow. And you see here, it's removing them from the lead magnet workflow if they click the link that says, I'm not interested in this lead magnet. And you can build this for every single one of your promotions. And it really helps people keep control of what they're getting in their inbox, not get frustrated. You also start to figure out who's not interested in particular promotions, maybe make sure that they stay on the right list and that you're actually seeing what people want. All right, that is lead capture and promotion. Now I'm going to get into the lead scoring piece that I've talked about a little bit. And this is actually, it's a function of HighLevel where there's a whole gamification piece, and I have a whole other video on how to set up lead scoring. And it's very simple. You can say if somebody opens an email, give them 1 point. If they click a link in an email, give them 5 points. And you can set up this whole system of points that you want people to get or points that you want to take away, as I showed in the other automation there. The other thing you can do with this, though, is you can start to incorporate people's lead scores as being a trigger for these automations. And that's what these are. So you see here that we have, for example, a warm lead notification. And all this is that somebody hits a certain score and you've determined, okay, the scores are added up this way, they're created this way. You think about how do you want to be notified about these point values? And this is just an example where somebody has a score greater than 20. As soon as they hit 20, this is going to trigger the warm lead notification. And you could up this to 50. You could set it to whatever you want. Now, we did find that we needed to exclude certain people. So anybody that it was on our team or anybody we worked with, we tag them as being a team member and they get pulled out. Also current clients, because we find that we don't need to know that current clients are opening all of our emails, at least for us. Now, maybe you do want to know that people are opening emails because you have upsell opportunities. So that could be different for you. But you decide, is there anybody you want to exclude from these notifications? And then everybody else goes through this none track and they get added to a potential sales pipeline or a prospecting pipeline, whatever you want to call it. You get notified and it's just an internal notification. It can be SMS, an alert, or an email. I always prefer email. Then it waits a couple days and sends a reminder. Waits a couple days and send a reminder. Again, we have a goal in here. If they ever book an appointment, it will stop sending you reminders. But this is all an internal process. None of this is actually going out to the client. These are just internal notifications saying, hey, you have a warm lead. You should be following up with this person. They've been paying a lot of attention to your content. So this is just internal. This is just for your sales team. But that is an amazing workflow that works for lead scoring. And then we have a couple other ones in here too. So that was warm lead notification. We also have warm and hot prospect. This just moves people through the pipeline stages for our notifications. We have a dormant prospect process here. And this is if people have been in a particular stage for too long. In this case, we just set it up for 30, 60, 90 days. It will send internal notifications saying this person is cooling, cold, or stale. And then if they get to the 90-day stage point, it actually removes them from the pipeline altogether. And this is just a way to help keep the pipeline clean. And then finally, one that we don't always see is this one here, where we have anyone that is a suspected email bot or anyone that is do not disturb, we remove from our pipelines and our prospecting because we don't necessarily want to keep getting notifications about them. We will also take them out of the warm lead notifications. We will take them off the notifications for just about everything. I'm interrupting this video to make sure that there is no confusion about HighLevel or about how to work with me. If you want to try HighLevel but don't want to waste months trying to figure it out, I have two very clear options for you to consider. If you're looking to build an agency or a SaaS business, head over to marketecs.com/HighLevel. By using our affiliate link, which costs you nothing, you will get the following bonuses. Our Marketecs Engine Core Snapshot. This is all of the features that we install in every new Marketecs Engine user account. And we're giving it to you for free as an affiliate. Our onboarding guides and access to our private community. An invitation to join our weekly live office hours, where I personally will answer questions and even share tips that I've learned throughout the week. And I'm constantly learning. There is so many new features and things to learn in this industry as a whole, not to mention within the HighLevel platform. Plus, we'll give you our additional templates, checklists, and migration guide. That's option number one. Option two is if you are a business owner just looking to improve your own tech stack and you don't want to do it alone.
you would like a trusted strategic partner in your corner that speaks the language, brings you time-tested automations, proven strategies, and up-to-date learning. Then go to marketexengine.com and book a consultation with me to learn more about our high-level agency, Marketecs Engine, and joining our ecosystem. I'm also currently offering discounts on one-on-one consulting to any of our affiliates and high-level users. So whether you're building an agency or building a business, pick your path and let's drive results. Now, back to your regularly scheduled programming.
All right. We talked about appointment workflows. We talked about lead capture workflows. We talked about lead scoring workflows. Another really popular one is webinars. So webinars are sort of a level up of lead capture. They are a type of lead magnet, but it's the opportunity to be live and present with your ideal client and the opportunity for them to see you in action, know, like, and trust you. So once you have a great topic that you know people are interested in, you might be tempted to want to run a webinar. And we have actually the next two workflows, this one and the next one, are both related to video and webinars. The first one here is basically it's a webinar opt-in. And we did a 3-day challenge. So it's like 3 days of a webinar. That's the example that you're seeing here. But what it is you have a form. So somebody signs up. Often webinars are free, but you could actually have a paid webinar. And in this system, you can actually collect payments for these things. So you could charge $47 for somebody to join your webinar. And then we have, in this case, we're adding a note to the system that says that this person signed up for this and when they signed up for it. So we're just notating their contact record with this information because this system is also a CRM. So it is keeping all the information for your contacts and your leads. It's keeping all their activities tracked and giving you all of that in one place. Then, surprise, we're adding a tag. They opted in, and you can see my tag is very specific. This was the Marketecs Engine 3-day challenge webinar opt-in. So there's no question about what this person did when you see this tag on their contact record. Then I'm creating a prospect in our pipeline, in our Marketecs Engine sales pipeline. I'm saying that this person seems interested, and so I'm starting them in the pipeline. I am removing them from the promotional workflow. So most of the time when you are starting a webinar, you're probably also promoting this to your existing list. Well, after somebody signs up, you don't want them to keep getting the promo emails. So you want to remove them from that promo workflow because you've added them to the opt-in workflow. And all of this happens in a matter of seconds. You can see that there's no delays or timers here. And so then they're going to get their confirmation email. And this email is just me saying, welcome, you're in. Here's the Zoom link or here's the whatever link. Can't wait to see you on X date at X time. Next here is a date timer because this is a live event more often than not. You can do evergreen webinars as well. And I have another video on even how to run a live webinar and then switch it to evergreen right within the system, literally just swapping landing pages and the same link works. In this case, what we're looking at is a process for a live webinar. What it's going to do, it's going to recognize the state and then it's going to hold people. But if you notice this next timer, it says 1 day before. So really, it's going to hold people here. So it's going to wait until a day before your event. The system recognizes the event date you put in, and then it's going to hold them till 1 day before. And 1 day before, they're going to get a reminder. And then look, 1 hour before. 1 hour before, they're going to get another reminder. And in this case, these are emails, but you could have them be SMS, text messages if you wanted. And then 5 minutes before, and these are all related to that date that I put in. So the only piece you have to change when you change this webinar, you could run this webinar every single month. And the only piece you have to change is that date and anything in your emails that's date specific. But once you change that date, these timers update to relate to that date there. So 5 minutes before, it's going to say, hey, we're on the call, make sure you join us, etc. And then it waits a day and it's going to send them the replay. If it's your first time doing this, you're going to have to make sure you put in that replay link in that next email. If it's your third or fourth time doing this, then you might be happy with the replay that's in there and you never have to update this one again. Then it waits a day and it's sending them another replay. And again, in this case, it was a 3-day challenge. So I'm sending a replay after each day. You could also, if it was a 1 day event, you could send the replay again and say, don't forget to check out timestamp XYZ, where I give you this amazing tip. Just like your lead magnet before, when I was saying if you send an ebook, you do a follow up on each chapter. In this case, you do a follow up on all the key points. And each key point is an opportunity to reach back out with an email reminding people to take a look at that replay. And then again, at the end, I'm adding the newsletter tag so that we stay following up with them. And this way, our newsletter is always going only to people with the newsletter tag. And I know it's not confusing any promotions. Somebody that's in a nurture sequence already is not going to get some other promotion that doesn't relate to them yet. So the newsletter tag is added at the end. All right, so that's a webinar opt-in process. Pretty linear, pretty straightforward, not difficult to see here. At any point, if these were reminders to book a call, at any point I could put a goal down here saying, if they book an appointment, skip the extra reminders. Pretty simple to add those things into these processes. Now, I mentioned you can switch this to a recorded video, and you'll see here that I have video tracking up at the top, and it's a little hint to the next workflow. One of the reasons for that is that this can actually be evergreen or live. So when somebody fills out the form, they can come through this. If they actually watch the video, they can also get this information. But there is also a very cool video tracking feature inside of GoHighLevel that I haven't actually played with in a lot of other systems. So you can upload videos directly to GoHighLevel. And at this time, there is unlimited file storage. So even 1 2 hour videos, not a problem. So we did use this for one of our promotions and worked great, worked absolutely great. First of all, you upload the video and then you start with a trigger. Anyone, it's a video tracking trigger, and you say this, you can name anything you want, and you say the video is, and you find the video in your list. I'm in a demo account. So you find the video that you uploaded, you indicate it here as the video tracking. Now, keep in mind, because this is a standalone workflow, this also means if somebody stumbles upon this video, they're actually going to trigger this workflow. It could be somebody else in your system. They're going to trigger this workflow even if they didn't actually register for the live event. So this is not just for replays. This could be you share the video in your newsletter, and then people would actually trigger this workflow if they're curious and they go and watch it. So keep that in mind as far as a way to use this as well. In this case, you'll probably want to tag them maybe with webinar video replay or webinar video tracking or something like that for a tag here. And then after someone has triggered this automation, they have gone to the page, they have started watching the video. Depending on your content, you want to decide what's the wait timer here. In my case, where I was doing this as a 3 day challenge, it made sense to wait 3 days. I don't want to follow up with somebody if they're actually doing this in a 3 day time frame. If yours is a quick 30-minute webinar, you might change this to wait 1 day. And then our trigger is what's the percentage that they watched? And you'll see here in these branches, you can say video duration percentage. And what is it? Greater than, equal than, or less than? I've got 50%. Greater than or equal to 50, less than 50, but greater than 1. And then that means the none branch is literally they watched none of it. So that's what we're looking at. They watched none of it, they watched less than 50%, or they watched more than 50%. And you could set up more branches than this. You could set it up for 10%, 25%, 75%. You could set up as many as you wanted. I was keeping this fairly simple. I really cared if they made it to the halfway mark or didn't watch it at all. And then you decide, what do you want to do? So after a day or 3 days or whatever your wait timer is, if they've watched none of it, meaning they didn't even start the video, you probably want to send them a reminder. Hey, you requested this video, or hey, showed interest in this video, because keep in mind, this could be just someone from your newsletter that clicked on the link and then closed the page before the video ever started, or never hit play. Maybe it's still open in their browser and never hit play. So this is the, we noticed you didn't hit the play button email. And then maybe you wait 3 days and you're looking again, or maybe you only wait 2 days. You're looking again. Did they watch the video? And we have the same, exactly same indicators here. None, less than 50, greater than 50. And you can see that they just reroute. if they're less than 50 or if they're greater than 50. They're just going to that step that's already built out. And you could continue this. If it's none, you could send another reminder and you can even take that previous email, copy that action, and paste it right there. You want to send them another email, and then maybe you want to check again and paste that right there. And you can see here how I very quickly, so we have our first branching, second branching, third branching, just by copying actions. So if you have an idea of what you want to say and the cadence that you want to say it in, you can build it pretty quickly in here. All right, they've watched none of it, they get a reminder, and then it checks to see if they watched it again. If they watch less than 50%, then they are getting a video view tag. They are getting an introduction. They are getting added to the pipeline. They are getting an email saying, hey, we noticed you started the video but weren't able to finish it. Did you have any questions? Was there something that you're curious about? Waiting 2 days, sending a follow-up, waiting a day. And there is a goal in here. So even if way up here, somebody actually books an appointment for a consultation, none of the rest of this will happen. They will get pulled down to the appointment goal. They watch greater than 50%, they're getting a different video view tag. Now I'm getting a notification. You have someone who is very interested in Marketecs Engine. You have someone who wants to automate their marketing, and you really need to follow up with them. And so it's creating a lead, it's adding them to the pipeline, it's sending an email saying, hey, I'm so glad you watched the video. Do you have any questions? Very similar probably to the less than 50% in a lot of the language, just slightly different so that it's obvious that this has been customized. Waiting a couple days, following up again. Again, this appointment goal is going to pull them out if they book that appointment. And I've been notified, so if I would like to, I can reach out to that person personally as well. That is our video view tracking automation. So what are you looking to automate? What have you automated that has made a huge difference in your business? Leave a comment down below. Let me know your use cases. If there's something I didn't share today that you feel like has been hugely pivotal in your business, then I would love to hear about it. And if you're curious about incorporating marketing automation into your business, there's some links down below. I welcome you to take a look, reach out to us, book an appointment. We would love to talk to you. You see, most businesses don't need more leads until they have the right systems in place. You need to be able to scale, and that's what this is about. This is not about making robots. This is about making great choices and being able to handle the volume that's coming your way. So I hope you liked the video. Please subscribe, share, click the like button, leave a comment. And again, if you have questions, book an appointment.